Morning, I'm Amar Singh Pradhan. Let's begin with the top stories this hour. The Nepalese New Year 2076 begins today with a lot of fanfare. Nepalese in home and abroad mark the New Year by exchanging greetings. Former officials of constitutional bodies using luxurious vehicles purchased with taxpayers' money. Former Chief Justice Gopal Parajuli driving a car worth 12.9 million rupees. Number of victims in the severe rainstorm in Bara and Parsa increases 1.5 times after government declares of rebuilding their houses. And Royal Challengers Bangalore register their first win at the Indian Premier League. Virat Kohli and AB de Villiers sign for RCB. The Nepalese New Year 2076 has begun from today. Nepalese home and abroad have marked the New Year by exchanging greetings. The New Year was welcomed amid much fanfare at the stroke of midnight last night. Public flocked to happening places in Kathmandu Valley and other tourist places, including religious venues, since yesterday evening to welcome the New Year. Those celebrating the New Year with their friends and families appeared very relaxed and enthused. The government, as usual, has marked the occasion with a public holiday. President, Vice President, Prime Minister, Speaker of the Parliament and leaders of the main opposition have extended their greetings for the New Year. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli also addressed the nation on the occasion of the New Year Day earlier this morning. Pilgrims have flocked to religious places including Pasupatinath Temple, Budalil Kanta, Bagdwar, Sapan Tirtha and Champadevi Fair in Kantipur. The year 2075 BS as per the Nepalese calendar ended from yesterday. This year the country didn't have to bear any political instability due to the formation of a strong government led by the Nepal Communist Party. Despite having stable government, the year went without experiencing any expected transformations. The nation finally got rid of regular changes in government leadership which had lasted for 7 decades. However, despite the strong government led by NCP in the center and 6 provinces, expected performance was not witnessed. All 7 provinces complained of inadequate rights, budget and human resources. Despite promising a start in terms of ending syndicate in the transport sector, actions against irresponsible contractors and investigation into the gold smuggling case, the government's working mechanism was criticized as the efforts were not productive. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli was more busy airing speeches and delivering assurances rather than translating the promises into reality. Indian Prime Minister directly reached Janakpur without making it to Kathmandu, which issued heated political debate early this year. Speaker Krishna Bahadur Mahara was criticized for his failure at the parliament. Opposition Nepali Congress was largely engaged in its internal issues and failed to play the role it was supposed to play. Despite the unification of the then CPN-UML and CPN-Maoist Center, the integration at lower ranks of the NCP remains to be completed. NCP co-chairman Pushpa Kamal Dahal, airing his stand on the Venezuelan situation, dragged him into some unwanted controversy. Rashtriya Janata Party Nepal decided to quit the ruling coalition right after its lawmaker Resam Lal Chaudhary was declared guilty on charges of masterminding the infamous Tikapur incident. The government banned the Netra Bikram Chand-led outfit for their violent activities. The agreement between the government and C.K. Raut heated the political fraternity for quite some time. The government claimed employee adjustment as a success, but the officials have yet to reach the provinces and local levels. Tourism Minister Rabindra Adhikari was killed in a helicopter crash, while the rape and murder of Nirmala Panta and the severe rainstorm in Bara and Parsa were some of the big headlines of the year that went by. The trend of high-ranking administrators, officials of constitutional bodies and political leaders abusing the state coffers even after their retirement still persists. From the Chief Justice of Supreme Court to the election commissioners, most officials have abused large funds in purchase of expensive and luxurious vehicles. Former Chief Justice Gopal Parajuli took with him an expensive car worth 12 million rupees. Following the completion of his tenure. Based on the law related to remuneration, terms of service and benefits for the justices at the Supreme Court, it should have been returned within 7 days. However, Parazuli has been using the expensive vehicle purchased with a large fund from the state coffers for his personal luxury. Officials of the Election Commission had also piled unnecessary pressure on the state coffers by purchasing expensive vehicles amid criticism. Despite surplus vehicles at the Commission, the commissioners purchased 5 luxurious vehicles, spending more than 110 million rupees. The number of such vehicles has reached 40 at the Commission. These instances are clear evidences of how the high-ranking officials abuse the state funds during their tenure or after its completion. The Home Ministry is among the front runners in regards to irregularities and abuse of funds for vehicles. Home Ministers and Secretaries have a trend of purchasing expensive vehicles right at the end of the tenure so as to take it with them. The government provides several benefits to the officials during their tenure. They also have pension upon retirement with other facilities. Actions must be taken against those who abuse the tax paid by the public to live a luxurious life by further piling pressure on the National Treasury. Despite reports of the Financial Comptroller General making public the details of financial irregularities every year, lack of discipline has been fostering in public sector in the absence of actions against those responsible. Ill practices have lately been growing in the Parliament, judiciary and the constitutional councils that are responsible to monitor the government works. Ministries including the physical infrastructure, urban development, energy, drinking water and federal affairs along with the entities under them spent just over 3 billion rupees against the legal provisions in the name of consultant services. Despite the absence of a law for contingency expenses, these departments have used well over 1,324 million rupees in irregular expenses. The Federal Parliament, which is a watchdog entity of the government, has illegally spent 37 million rupees as incentives and 29.7 million rupees for purchase of goods against the Public Procurement Act. With such large data of irregularities being made public, the nation still lacks a sound mechanism to take action against the responsible officials. According to the report of the Financial Comptroller General, the Election Commission had printed voters' education materials worth 117.2 million rupees despite knowing that such resources were not required. Questions have been raised on the intentions of the Commission officials for spending 41.4 million rupees on chartering helicopters. Such data of irregularities, so that the Parliament to constitutional entities have all been abusing the taxes paid by the public. The essence of the Financial Comptroller's report will only be realized when the Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority proceeds with filing cases against the officials involved in such irregularities. The recently released number of victims in the severe rainstorm in Bara and Parsa has appeared to be 1.5 times more than the previously collected data. The number of victims has altered in the absence of an efficient mechanism in the district to assess the losses caused by such disasters. According to the District Disaster Management Committee, the number of completely affected houses in Bara and Parsa had previously stood at 940, while 955 were partially damaged. However, after the government declared of rebuilding houses for the victims with the help of Nepal Army, the number of victims has increased by 1.5 times. Based on the data recently made public by the District Disaster Management Committee, the number of houses completely affected has reached 1,362. Likewise, the partially affected houses stand at 1,067. Local police had collected the data in the preliminary phase since the disaster. However, the recent data collection carried out by a committee formed following the directive of the central government has shown a direct scenario. Currently, there are no efficient mechanisms in districts to assess the natural disasters and the losses caused. This creates complications in the timely collection of actual data of the victims. Meanwhile, there also exist other entities that try to reap benefits in the name of the victims. Locals have said that the increased number of victims is a political propaganda. Welcome back. The onset of mountaineering season has hinted towards a massive traffic of mountaineers to scale the mountains, including the world's highest peak, Mount Everest. With the weather becoming favorable for mountaineering, tourists have begun flocking to Nepal with the objective of climbing various mountains like Mount Everest. 75 groups have already received the permit from the Tourism Department to scale Mount Everest, Kanchenjunga, Lhotse, Annapurna and Dhaulagiri among 20 other mountains. Of them, 31 foreign groups and 4 Nepalese groups are to climb Mount Everest. In addition to that, 270 groups have received the permits from Nepal Mountaineering Association to scale mountains that measure above 4,500 meters. Many tourists are reaching Nepal for mountaineering purpose. The Tourism Department has generated 451.3 million rupees through permits in the first season of 2019 already. The department expects more mountaineers this season in comparison to previous years. It cost $11,000 for foreigners to go on the Everest expedition, while the fee is set at 75,000 rupees for Nepalese nationals. Of the 17,000 mountains above 5,800 meters, Nepal has opened only 403 for expeditions. And it's now time for our segment Public Pulse, where it texts us with their opinion.
Public Pulse.
And the question is, what do you term the abnormal increase in number of disaster victims after the government's declaration of aid programs? Our options are A, result of poor data collection, B, politics for votes, and C, reaping benefits. The voting is on. Tab in AWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And locals have a lot of grievances on the weak role being played by the Red Cross Society, which actually is supposed to be very active during the rescue following natural disasters. And in this context, we had asked the workers of Red Cross Society regarding what they think should be done to make the role of Red Cross Society more effective. Let's take a look at what they have to say.
Public Voice.
Disaster को आंकलन गर्न नसक्दाखेरि पनि अलि राहतमा चाहिने कमी आको हो कि त्यो राम्रो भएन भन्ने हो कि भन्ने ती कुराहरू हुन सक्छ।
जुन क्षेत्रमा जस्ता खालका विपद छन् त्यो विपदलाई चाहिँ के रे सम्बोधन हुने गरी राहत सामग्रीहरूको व्यवस्थापन गर्नु पर्यो, त्यही अनुसारको भोलिन्टियरहरू तयार गर्नु पर्यो।
मेन पावर नपुगेको अवस्था पनि हुन सक्छ। विपदको बेलामा तत्काल उनीहरूलाई सुचारू गर्न नसकेको अवस्थाले पनि यस्तो हुन्छ।
कार्य समिति र भोलिन्टियरहरू सबै एक्टिभ हुनुपर्ने हो, एक्टिभ अलि नभएको हो कि भन्ने भएको छ।
समुदायसँग अझै नजिक भन्ने हाम्रो नारा छ। त्यसलाई अझै व्यावहारिक रूपमा हामीले चरितार्थ गरेर कार्यक्रमहरू गर्यौं भने चाहिँ यहाँले भन्नुभयो जस्तै जनसमुदायले जस्तो किसिमको अपेक्षा राखेको छ त्यही अनुसार काम गर्नको लागि सकिन्छ।
And now time for sports update.
Sports news.
Manchester United is struggled to secure a 2-1 win against West Ham United at the English Premier League match played late last night. Paul Pogba converted 2 penalties in United's 2-1 win. Philip Anderson was adjudged offside in the 9th minute of the match as West Ham found themselves close to leading against United. Pogba scored the first of his 2 penalties in the 19th minute. Anderson found the net in the 49th minute to level the match at 1-1. However, United were awarded another penalty in the 80th minute, which Pogba converted again to seal the 2-1 win. With the win, United have climbed to the 5th spot and have 64 points from 33 matches. West Ham are placed 11th. In other matches, Bournemouth crossed Brighton 5-0. Burnley saw Cardiff 2-0. Fulham secured identical 2-0 win against Everton, while Southampton brushed aside Wolves 3-1. Elsewhere, Tottenham Hotspur thrashed Huddersfield 4-0. League leaders Liverpool take on their familiar rivals Chelsea tonight in a crucial fixture. Barcelona were held for a goalless draw by the bottom-placed Huesca at the Spanish La Liga last night. Most of the senior players of Barca were rested in the match played at Huesca's home ground. Barcelona play against Manchester United in the second leg of the quarter-final of the UEFA Champions League next week. Ernesto Valverde gave opportunities to 4 new players considering the crucial Champions League fixture for which the likes of Messi were rested. Barca created the chances but failed to convert the opportunities. In another La Liga match, Atletico Madrid secured a 2-0 win against Celta de Vigo. Barca continued to lead the table with 74 points from 32 matches, while second place Atletico have 65 points. Nepal suffered first defeat at the ICC Under-19 World Cup Asia qualifiers yesterday, going down to UAE by 1 run under the Duckworth-Lewis in the rain-affected match. The loss is a major blow to Nepal's aspiration to lead the table. Nepal lost the toss and were put into bat first, where they posted 247 runs in 50 overs in the match played at Kinrara Stadium, Malaysia. Rit Gautam scored 44 runs at the top of the order. Having lost 5 wickets for 115 runs, Hari Chauhan and Vim Sarke featured in a 92-run partnership for the 6th wicket. Vim scored 53 runs from 54 balls, including 4 fours and 2 sixes. Hari Chauhan remained unbeaten with 67 runs in his debut match. Rishabh Mukherjee picked 4 wickets for UAE. In reply, chasing the target of 248 runs for a victory, UAE were 122 runs for the 3 wickets when heavy rain stopped play. The match was decided under the Duckworth-Lewis, giving UAE a close 1-run victory. And before we wrap up this morning news bulletin, here's a look at the top stories one more time. The Nepalese New Year 2076 begins today. Nepalese in home and abroad mark the New Year. Top political leaders extend New Year greetings. Former officials of constitutional bodies found to be using luxurious vehicles purchased with taxpayers' money. Former Chief Justice Gopal Parajuli driving a car worth 12.9 million rupees. Number of victims in the severe rainstorm in Bara and Parsa increases 1.5 times after government declares of rebuilding their ravaged houses. And Royal Challengers Bangalore registered their first win at the Indian Premier League. Virat Kohli and AB de Villiers signed for RCB. And those were our latest headlines. Stay with us for more news and entertainment on KDVSD. Good day and Happy New Year.